Welcome to MDL Crochet and welcome to this tutorial on this trick or treat bag. It is done out of cotton, so it is reusable, glow in the dark, and I used a 3-weight or cotton yarn for the main body and a 4-weight for the drawstring and the strap. This is an over the shoulder strap and it is done all in the Tunisian simple stitch. I used approximately 460 yards or 420 meters of total yarn. 20 yards or 18 or so meters will be for the glow in the dark aspect, which is the eyes, nose, and mouth. And then the remaining 440 yards or 402 meters was used for the background. I also used a 6mm cabled hook for this, and it is made in one flat panel where we sew together. The back seam is being hidden by the strap, which gives more support. So let's go ahead and get into this tutorial. So to start this tutorial, you'll chain 130 chains. And with Tunisian Crochet, we like to pull our foundation row up in the back loop. So what you do is from the second chain from your hook, the loop coming from your hook does not count as a chain. However, where it is coming out of is chain 1, and then there's chain 2. You'll rotate your chain, and in the back bumps is where you're going to insert your hook. And then you'll just yarn over and pull up a loop. You're going to do that all the way down and then do a standard return pass. If you do not know how to do a standard return pass, I'll meet you there. I'll see you in just a moment. So to do the return pass, with the last loop you're going to chain 1. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2. You're going to yarn over, pull through 2, repeating that step all the way down to the end so you only have that one loop left on your hook. And I will see you in just a moment. So now that you have just the one loop left on your hook, now we're going to start the next part of this pattern. For the next 25 rows, you'll be doing nothing but Tunisian simple stitches. And if you need to know how to do a Tunisian simple stitch or just need a refresher on a Tunisian simple stitch, I'll be putting a link for it right here for you. So let's go ahead and do 25 rows of the Tunisian simple stitch with a standard return pass. I will see you once we get these 25 rows completed. So now that you have completed your 25 rows, we're going to start with pulling up a total of 58 loops. That is including your edge loop. So we'll need to do 57 more simple stitches. So go ahead and pull up your 57 and I'll meet you once we get there. So now that you have your 58 loops pulled up, that is including your edge stitch. What we're going to do now is we need to bring in another color, and this is our mouth color. I am using a white glow in the dark yarn for this. I'll give you the counts that you're going to need, but you need to go ahead and pull up your mouth color. And we're going to be walking the background color that we've been using. So that's 1, and then to walk the next color, to walk our background color, you're just going to keep it in front or above our mouth color. We need to pull up 2 of our mouth color, so there's 2. And then we're going to switch it around because we need to pull up 3 of our background color. So switch it around so that the yarn you're always walking is always going to be on top of the yarn you're working with. For the 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to be walking our background color. We need our mouth color. That is going to be 4 simple stitches of our mouth color. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to be switching to our background. We're going to walk our background color. And we need to do 3 of these. 1, 2, and 3. Switching to our mouth color, and we need to do 2 of these. 2 simple stitches. 1 and 2. You can drop your mouth color, take your background color, and we need to do a total of 58 simple stitches in our background color. So 1, 2, and that'll take you to the end. Do your standard return pass. I'll meet you at the color change so I can show you how to do a color change. I'll see you in just a moment. Alright, we're at our color change, and you're still going to be walking your background color back. So you'll just twist it. Whatever you're walking always stays on top of what you're working with, just like that. And then just keep walking it. It's going to be a little bit of a slow process, but here soon we're going to be adding different strands to make it a little bit easier. And then we're going to switch. And that's how you do your color changes. And then when you get a little bit past, you can tighten it up a little bit. And just pull on the color you worked with, and it tightens it up. So continue doing that all the way down, making sure you're walking back your yarn. We're going to do this for a few more rows of walking, and then we'll be adding just new strands in. So go ahead and continue all the way down, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. So now for row 27, we will be pulling up 57 total loops. That's including our edge stitch. So go ahead and pull up 57 total loops. That's 56 simple stitches, and on 57th is our edge. I'll see you once we get these pulled up. So now that you have your 57 total loops, and again that is counting your edge stitch, we will be pulling up 3 stitches of our mouth color. And we're going to be walking our background yarn. So let's go ahead and pull up our 3 mouth colors. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to be pulling up 3 of our background. 1, 2, and 3. 4 of our mouth color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 of our background color. 1, 2, 3, 3 of our mouth color. 1, 2, and 3. You could drop your mouth color and continue with your background color. And you'll be doing 57 total loops. That includes your end stitch. Do your edge end stitch and a standard return pass. Pay attention to the color change as we did in the row prior. And I'll meet you back for row 28. So for row 28, we'll be pulling up a total of 55 loops. Again, it does count your edge stitch. So pull up 54 simple stitches and we'll have our total of 55. And then we'll come back and we'll start the next part of this. I'll see you in just a moment. So now that you have your 55 total loops pulled up of your background color, we will be doing 5 simple stitches of our mouth color. You can stretch it a little bit, it doesn't really matter. You can stretch by 2 to get it over. Anything more than that, then we would do a little locking method. So there's 1. Remember, we're going to be walking our background color. There's 2, 3, goes 4 and 5. Now we're going to be switching around and walking our mouth color, and we need to pull up 3 simple stitches of our of our background color. 1, 2, 3. Now we're switching to our mouth color. We need to do a total of 4 simple stitches of our mouth, walking our background. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Switching to our background color, we need to pull up 3 stitches of our background color. 1, 2, and 3. Switching to our mouth color, we need to pull up a total of 5 stitches of our mouth color, continually walking our background color. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can drop your mouth color. We need to do a total of 55 stitches. That it includes our end stitch. And then do a standard return pass. Pay attention to your color change, and I'll meet you at the beginning of row 29. So for row 29, we will be pulling up a total of 53 loops. That does count the loop on your hook from your edge stitch. So we need to pull up 52 simple stitches. So go ahead and pull up those 52 and we will come back for the next part of this row. So now that you have your 53 loops, including the edge stitch, you'll be stopped too short, or we'll not be carrying our yarn over. We'll be using straight the back mouth color. So we need to pull up a total of 24 of our mouth color. 1, 2, 3, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Now we're going to be adding another line of our background color. And then we need to pull up a total of 53 loops. So that's already 1, and that will take you all the way down to the edge, do your edge stitch, do your standard return pass. Pay attention to your color change, and I'll meet you back for row 30. For For row 30, we'll be pulling up a total of 51 loops. Remember, your edge stitch does count, so we need to do 50 simple stitches for our total of 51. So go ahead and continue pulling up your 50 simple stitches for your total of 51 loops, and we will be back for the rest of this row. So now that you have your 51 loops up, that'll leave you 2 short before our mouth color. We will be pulling up 28 of our mouth color. 1, 2, 25, 26, 27, and 28. Go ahead and drop your mouth color, pick up your next background color, and you will be doing a total of 51 stitches, which includes your end stitch. Do the standard return pass, pay attention to your color change, and I'll meet you back for the beginning of row 31. So for row 31, we're going to start with a total of 49 loops on our hook, and again, that does count our edge stitch, so we need to pull up 48 simple stitches. So go ahead and pull those stitches up, and I'll meet you for the next part of this row. So now that we have the 49 loops on our hook, that would have left us 2 short before our white section. We're going to be pulling up 8 stitches in our mouth color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We are going to be adding another line of our background color, and we're going to walk this one for the teeth aspect of our pattern, and we need to pull up 3 of these and walk our mouth color as well. So 1, 2, and 3. 3 of our mouth color. 1, 2, and 3. 4 of our background color. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 of our mouth color. 1, 2, and 3. 3 of our background color. 1, 2, 3. We can drop that new background color, and we will be doing 8 of our mouth color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Drop your mouth color, and we will be doing a total of 49 stitches of our background color. That'll take us to the edge. You'll do your end stitch, return pass, standard return pass, pay attention to your color changes, and we'll come back for row 32. For row 32, we'll need to pull up a total of 47 loops on our hook. That does count our end stitch, so we need to pull up an additional 46 simple stitches. So go ahead and pull up your 46 simple stitches. So now that we have our 47 loops on our hook, we have ended too short before our next mouth color section. We need to go ahead and pull up 10 total mouth color simple stitches. So 1, 2, 8, 9, and 10. We're going to be start walking our mouth color along with doing our background color. We need to do 3 stitches of our background color. So 1, 2, and 3. Walking our background color along with our mouth color. We need to do 3 of our mouth color. So 1, 2, and 3. Switching to our background color, we need to do a total of 4 stitches in our background color. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Switching to our mouth background color, we need to do 3 stitches of our mouth background color. So 1, 2, and 3. Switching to our background color, we need to do 3 stitches in our background color. 1, 2, and 3. Dropping our background color, taking our mouth color, we will need to do a total of 10 stitches of our mouth color. 1, 2, 8, 9, and 10. Dropping our mouth color and picking up our next strand of main color, background color. We will be doing a total of 47 stitches. That does include our end stitch to do a standard return pass. Pay attention to your color change, and I'll meet you back for row 33. For row 33, we will need to pull up a total of 46 loops in our background color. That does include our edge stitch. So we need to do 45 simple stitches. So go ahead and pull up your 45 simple stitches for your total of 46 loops on your hook. So now that you have your 46 loops pulled up, that'll leave us one short from our previous row's mouth color. So we need to go ahead and pull up 11 stitches of our mouth color. 1, 2, 9, 10, and 11. We're going to continue walking our mouth color and picking up our background color. We need to do 3 stitches of our background color. So 1, 2, and 3. Walking our background color with our mouth color, we need to do 3 stitches of our mouth color. 1, 2, 3. 4 stitches in our background color. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 stitches of our mouth color. 1, 2, 3. 3 stitches of our background color. 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and drop your background color, take your mouth color, and we will be doing a total of 11 stitches of our mouth color. 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Drop your mouth color, pick up your other insert, your other input for your background color, and we'll be doing a total of 46 stitches. That does include the edge stitch. Do your standard return pass, pay attention to your color changes, and I'll meet you back for row 34. The next 5 rows will be nothing but the background color of simple stitches. That'll be rows 34, 35, 36, 37, and 38. So you can go ahead and snip off your yarn from your inputs and continue working on the next 5 rows. Once you get those 5 rows completed, I will be back to start the next part of this pattern. So now that we have completed our 5 rows, rows 34 through row 38, we are now on row 39. And row 39, we will be pulling up a total of 60 loops on our hook. Our edge stitch does count. So we need to do an additional 59 simple stitches. So go ahead and do your 59 simple stitches, and we'll come back for the next part of this row. So now that we have our 60 loops on our hook, you will end right even with the first stitch of our mouth color on this section. Just go up, and that's where you're going to end. That'll be the 61st stitch, but we end 1 4, that gives us our 60. Now we're going to add the same color that we did our mouth in. And for me, that is white glow in the dark. So you'll just add your color. We're not walking any yarn. We need to pull up a total of 10 of our mouth color, or now we're working on the nose, 10 of our nose color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and number 10. Number 10 will be the last stitch of our upward part of our mouth. Now we're going to add another line of our background color. And we'll be pulling up a total of 60 loops. That does include our end stitch. And then you do your standard return pass, pay attention to your color changes, and I will meet you back for row number 40. So now we're on to row 40. For row 40, we need to pull up a total of 61 loops. That does count your edge stitch. So go ahead and pull up your 61 total loops. That it will be 60 simple stitches, and then we'll come back for the rest of the pattern for this row. So now that you have pulled up your 61 loops, that'll bring you one into the prior row's white or nose color. Now you'll switch to your nose color and you'll pull up a total of 8 simple stitches in your nose color. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you'll end one short from your previous row. From here, you'll switch to your background color and you'll do a total of 61 loops. That'll take you to the end, so do your edge stitch, which is part of that 61, do a standard return pass, watch out for your color change, and I'll meet you for the next row, which is row 41. So now we're on row 41. With row 41, we need to pull up a total of 62 loops on our hook. So we need to go ahead and do 61 simple stitches. So go ahead and pull up your 61 simple stitches, and then we'll come back for the rest of this row. So now that you have pulled up your 62 total loops, we will be doing 6 stitches of our nose color. So go ahead and pull up your 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you drop your nose color and pick up your background color. You're going to complete a total of 62 loops on your hook. That does include your end stitch. Do your standard return pass and pay attention to your color changes, and I will meet you back for the beginning of row 42. So now we're at row 42. And with row 42, we need to pull up a total of 63 loops. That does count our edge stitch. So we need to do 62 simple stitches. So go ahead and pull up your 62 simple stitches, and then we're going to come back for the rest of this pattern for this row. So now that we have pulled up 63 loops of our background color, now we need to pull up 4 loops of our nose color. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Drop your nose color, pick up your background color, and we need to do 63 loops of our background color. And that's going to take you all the way down to the end. Do your edge stitch, do your standard return pass, pay attention to your color change, and I'll meet you back. I will see you in just a moment. So now we're on to row 43. With row 43, we need to pull up a total of 64 loops. That does count our edge stitch, so we need to do 63 simple stitches. So go ahead and pull up your 63 simple stitches, and then I will meet you for the rest of the pattern for this row. So now that you have pulled up your 64 loops, stitches, now we need to do 2 in our nose color. So go ahead and pull up 2 stitches in our nose color, drop your nose color, pick up your background color on the other side, and do 64 stitches of our background color. That'll take you to the end, do your edge stitch, do your end stitch, do your standard return pass, pay attention to your color change, and I'll meet you back for the beginning of row 44. I will see you in just a moment. So for the next 7 rows, this will be rows 44 through row 50, you'll be using your background color and pulling up Tunisian simple stitches. That'll be a total of 130 loops on your hook. That does include your edge stitch. And you can go ahead and snip off your other inputs of yarn and weave in your tails. I'll be back once we pull up these next 7 rows. So for row 51, we need to pull up a total of 48 loops. That does count your edge stitch, so we need to do 47 simple stitches. So go ahead and pull up your 47 simple stitches, and I'll be right back and we'll continue the rest of the pattern for this row. So now that you have your total of 48 loops pulled up, including your edge stitch, we will be doing 14 stitches in our opposite color that we have been using for the mouth and nose, because now we're starting the eyes. You will not be walking any yarn over, so you'll be pulling in 3 total lines of your background color and 2 total lines of your mouth, nose, and eye color. So we need to pull up 14 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 12, 13, and 14. You can drop your eye color, pick up another strand of your background color. Go ahead and insert it, because we will be doing a total of 6 stitches of our background color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Drop your background color, pick up another line of your eye color, and we will be doing a total of 14 stitches of this. 1, 2, 3, 13, and 14. You can drop your eye color, pick up another input of your background color, go ahead and add it, and we will do 48 total loops or stitches with your background color. That does include your end. That does include your end stitch. Do your standard return pass, pay attention to your color change, and I'll meet you back for row 52. So for row 52, we'll be pulling up a total of 49 loops. That is 48 simple stitches plus your edge stitch. So go ahead and pull up your 48 simple stitches, and then we'll come back and finish the pattern for this row. So once you have your 49 total loops pulled up, now we need to pull up 12 loops of our white. 1, 2, 11, and 12. Drop your eye color, pick up your background color, and we need to do a total of 8 stitches of our background color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Drop your background color, pick up your other eye color, and do 12 stitches into it. 1, 2, 3, 11, and 12. Drop your eye color, pick up your other background color, and we will do a total of 49 stitches. That does count your end stitch. Do your standard return pass, pay attention to your color changes, and I'll meet you back at the beginning for row 53. So for row 53, we will need to pull up 50 loops of our background color. Edge stitch does count, so we need to pull up a total of 49 simple stitches to have our 50 loops. So go ahead and pull up your 49 simple stitches, and then we'll come back for the pattern for the rest of this row. So now that we have pulled up our 50 total loops, now we'll be doing 10 in our eye color. 1, 2, 9, and 10. Switching to our middle background color, we will be doing 10 of our middle background color. 1, 2, 3, 9, and 10. Switching to our next eye color, we will be doing 10 stitches in our back eye color. 2, 8, 3, 9, and 10. Switching to our last input of our background color, and we'll be pulling up 50 total loops of this color. That does include your end stitch. And then do a standard return pass. Pay attention to your color change, and I'll meet you back for the beginning of row 54. For row 54, we'll be pulling up a total of 51 loops. That does count our edge stitch. So go ahead and do 50 simple stitches, and then we'll come back and finish the pattern for the rest of this row. So now that you have your 51 total loops up on your hook, we'll be switching to our eye color, and we'll be pulling up 8 simple stitches in that color. 2, 3, 7, 8. Drop your eye color, pick up your middle background color, and we'll be doing a total of 12 stitches in that color. 1, 2, 10, 11, and 12. Drop your middle background color, pick up your next eye color, and we will be doing 8 stitches in our eye color. So 1, 2, 7, and 8. Drop your eye color, pick up your last input of your background color, and we will be doing a total of 51 stitches in our background color. That does include our end stitch. Do a standard return pass, pay attention to your color change, and I'll meet you back for the beginning of row 55. So for row 55, we need to pull up a total of 52 loops. That does include our edge stitch, so that'll be 51 simple stitches. Go ahead and pull up your 51 simple stitches, and then we'll come back for the rest of the pattern for this row. So now that you have pulled up your 52 total loops, now for the eye color, we will be pulling up a total of 6 simple stitches. So 1, 4, 2, 5, and 6. Drop your eye color, pick up your middle background color, and we will be doing a total of 14 stitches of our middle background color. So 1, 2, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Drop your middle background color, pick up your other eye color, and we'll be doing a total of 6 loops of our other eye color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Drop your eye color, pick up your last input of your background color, and we'll be doing a total of 52 stitches. This does include your end stitch. then do a standard return pass, and I'll meet you back for the beginning of row 56. So for row 56, we'll be pulling up a total of 53 loops on our hook. That does count our edge stitch, so we need to do a total of 52 simple stitches to pull up our 53. So go ahead and do your 52 simple stitches, and then we'll come back and finish the pattern for the rest of this row. So now that you have pulled up your 53 total loops, we'll be switching to our eye color and pulling up 4 loops of our eye color. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop your eye color, pick up your middle background color. Drop your eye color and pick up your middle background color, and we'll be doing a total of 16 stitches of our middle background color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 14, 15, and 16. Drop your middle background color, pick up the next eye color, and we will do 4 simple stitches into that color. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop your eye color, pick up your last strand of background color, and we'll be doing a total of 53 stitches. That does include your end stitch. Then do your standard return pass. Pay attention to your color change, and I will be back to meet you for the beginning of row 57. So for row 57, we'll be pulling up a total of 54 loops on our hook in our background color. That does count the edge stitch, so we need to do 53 simple stitches to have our total of 54. So go ahead and pull up your 53 simple stitches, and then we'll come back and finish the pattern for the rest of this row. So now that you have pulled up your 54 total loops, we will be switching to our eye color and just pulling up 2 loops in our eye color. Switching from our eye color to the middle input of our background color, you'll be pulling up a total of 18 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 16, 17, and 18. Drop your middle background color, pick up the next eye color, and do 2 simple stitches into that color. 1 and 2. Drop your eye color, pick up the last input of your background color, and we'll be doing a total of 54 stitches. That does include your end stitch. Then do a standard return pass. Pay attention to your color change, and I'll be back to meet you for row 58. Now for the next 18 rows, you'll do nothing but Tunisian simple stitch in your background color. And then we'll come back once you complete your next 18 rows. And you can go ahead and snip the extra lines coming in. And then we're going to come back and finish the rest of this project off. So now that you have completed your 18 rows, we will not be doing a close off on this project because we'll be using that close off to weave in our drawstring. So now we're just going to yarn over and chain 2. That'll help us lock it down because we're going to be drawing a long tail. We want our tail to be twice our width. So now that we have our tail, we can go ahead and snip it off. And finish pulling it through and then tighten our slip stitches down, our chains down. Now we're going to flip our project inside out, because what we're going to be doing is sewing the middle together from the inside of our project. Doesn't really matter how you're going to sew it, because we're going to end up covering that area up with a strap. So just go ahead and sew it how you would like to sew it, and then we'll come back and we'll do our bottom portion. So go ahead and sew. And again, like I said, it doesn't matter how you want to sew it, because it will be hidden by a strap that we'll be putting on the outside. So go ahead and get that done, and I'll see you all here in just a moment. So for the next part of this pattern, we need to make sure we still have it inside out. The seam we just sewn, make sure it is as in the middle as possible, because we're going to be sewing the bottom together to create our bag. And make sure you sew it as much as you can to give it as much strength, because remember, this is the bottom and it's going to be holding a lot of candy. So go ahead and sew your bottom together, and then we'll come back for the next step in this project. So for the next part of this pattern, we'll be making the strap. And the strap, you're going to make it a chain of 8 if you're using a 4-weight cotton yarn, or 2.5 inches, which is 6.35 centimeters. And we're just going to be using the simple stitch. So you'll pull up your chain and work into the back bumps. Pull up your loop, and you'll do that all the way down. Do a standard return pass and just keep building on it for 45 inches or 114 centimeters. I'll see you in just a moment. So now that you have reached the length of 45 inches or 114.3 centimeters for your strap, now we just need to close it off, and you'll just do a Tunisian slip stitch close off. And leave a decent tail, because you'll be connecting the two ends together. Now go ahead and sew your two ends together. You can connect them, sew them however you wish, because this is still going to be on the back side. So go ahead and connect them, and we'll be right back. So after you have finished your strap, and you have joined your strap, now we need to make a chain that is 38 inches or 96.52 centimeters long. This is our drawstring. Find the center of your bag, place a stitch marker on each side, because you're going to go in one way and come out the other. Now, how we're going to get this in, and what I like to do, is just take a piece of the yarn we worked with, feed it through the bottom of the chain, and just tie it off. And then how we're going to feed it is you're going to go from the front. You're going to feed it 3, and then go to the back and skip 3. 1. There goes 1, 2, 3. Go to the back. We're skipping 1, 2, 3. And then go back into the middle. 1, 2, 3, and so forth. Repeating that all the way down, all the way around. And that'll help give us our cinch. I'll be back in just a moment when we finish this. So once you added your drawstring, then we're going to add our back strap. You're going to want to sew it to where the seam where you join the two together is going to be in the middle. Plus, what you're doing is also making sure that the back side of the strap is facing towards you while you're sewing it, so that way when it comes around and then starts going back, that way it's the right side out for when they're carrying it. You're going to also want to make sure the seam that you did from joining the panel together is also in your center of your strap. That'll help give the strap stability. It'll help give the bag stability. And then when you get up here to your drawstring, be sure to actually go through the drawstring, so that way when it'll keep it in place, and then it'll help when you go to do the drawstring to cinch everything up and keep this part of the drawstring in place. So go ahead and add your strap to the back panel, to the back side of the bag, and pretty much your project's done, but we'll come back at the end here in just a moment. See you in just a second. So now that you have your strap sewn on and secure, your bag is ready to go. Go out, have a nice night of trick-or-treating, fill it full of candy, and enjoy it. And use it for next year, and the coming years, and the years to come. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have, consider giving me a like and subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. And leave me a comment. I do like to chit-chat. Until next time, folks. Keep stitching.